Welcome to Dram Fine Whiskey. My name is Matt. Today we're making a twist on a modern classic, the Espresso Martini, because we're going to be making it with stout finished whiskey. Now, the traditional Espresso Martini is made with vodka and was apparently invented by a British supermodel who wanted a drink with vodka and coffee at the same time. Now, this one's made with whiskey, but I'm using a stout finished whiskey because that will add some nice chocolatey notes. It'll really elevate this into the realms of a dessert, more so than just a classic coffee-based cocktail. I'm also going to use some Aztec chocolate bitters because that'll really elevate the chocolate notes that you find in the whiskey and really turn this into a drink you want to enjoy and savor. Before I start, one big piece of advice if you're ever making an Espresso Martini, whether it's made with whiskey or with vodka, is to always use fresh coffee. This is a shot of espresso I pulled just before I started filming, so about 3 or 4 minutes ago. So it's still warm, it's still got that nice crema on it, but it's not hot. If you use hot coffee, you're going to end up over diluting your drink because that hot coffee is going to melt your ice and you're going to end up with an inconsistent, kind of watery cocktail. So use fresh, room temperature if you can, but at least not fresh hot coffee. So let's get to making this. This is a shake and drink, so get your shaker tin. Get a nice rock of ice, put that in there. We're going to start with the most crucial ingredient of an espresso martini, the actual espresso. This is 1 ounce of espresso. Put that on top. Next up, we're going to go in with a coffee liqueur. I actually prefer Tia Maria over Kahlua because I think Tia Maria has a bit more sweetness, has some vanilla, has some nutty notes. So we're going to go in with 1 ounce of Tia Maria. There we go. Next up, we're going to go for our whiskey. In this case, I'm using the stout finished whiskey from Dubliner. This is actually a collaboration they did with a Dublin whiskey producer called Rascals, who have an Irish coffee stout, which is a nice stout beer that has some coffee notes to it. So it really does mix really well with the Espresso Martini. But if you can find any stout finished whiskey, like Jameson Caskmates or Teeling have a stout finished whiskey as well, they'll go equally well with it. So we're going to go in with 1.5 ounces of Dubliner stout finished whiskey. There we go. This is a bit of a boozy drink, but with the coffee it goes quite well. Next up, sugar syrup. This is important for it because I think the sugar syrup adds a nice bit of texture. If you like your dark coffee, if you like bitter dark coffee, you can feel free to skip the sugar syrup, but I like adding just under 1/2 ounce of sugar syrup. I'm going to pop that in. And for the last ingredient, which I think is a key ingredient in making this into really something of a dessert cocktail, the Aztec chocolate bitters. This is from Fee Brothers. There's a few different types of chocolate bitters out there you can get, so feel free to get whatever one you can. But I'm using Aztec chocolate bitters from Fee Brothers, so we're going to go in with 2 dashes of that. And that's it. We're just going to get top of our shaker tin, bang it on, and shake away. Now, one bit of advice I'll give you, if you ever find that your shaker tin is blowing out on top, it's because the ice hasn't yet sealed the shaker tin. What I mean by this is when the shaker tin cools, because the ice is cooling it, it actually contracts and it tightens up and makes an airtight seal. So if you're shaking this and you find that it's blowing out, just give it a 1 or 2 or 3 slow shakes at first. It'll cool down, it'll tighten up, and then you can go mad. Like with any shake and drink, once we see that layer of condensation up top, we know it's chilled, we know it's ready to pour. Again, if you just want to open this tin up, grab it here, or you're just going to take the base of your palm, slap it here against the open side. That'll cause this to shoot across, and you just pull it off. So watch. Like that. It takes a little bit to get used to it, but once you get the hang of it, it's actually quite simple. Oh wow, already that chocolate note is really just coming out of the shaker tin. It really does smell like a dessert. If you like an iced mocha, it's starting to become summer here in Ireland, so already I know this is going to be a great dessert drink. So, get a nice glass, your shaker tin, get a strainer up top, and just pour away. Perfect. Now, real quick, while this settles, If there's a drink you want me to make in future, if there's a tutorial you want me to do, if you want me to talk more about how to shake, how to strain, if you want to go through the equipment I have in my bar, let me know in the comments below. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for more videos like this in future. Now the last thing you need to do before you serve this drink is to garnish it. Traditionally with an espresso martini, you'll pop a couple of coffee beans on top. They'll sit and they'll balance on a nice thick foam, but because this is a whiskey and it's a chocolate forward drink, we're going to lean into that chocolate focus. We're actually going to use a little bit of cocoa powder to garnish up top. So I'm going to use my very official barman's piece of paper and just shake a little bit of cocoa powder. And that's giving us a nice dividing line for this whiskey-based espresso martini. Now, let's taste this cocktail. Oh, I really wasn't kidding when I said this is like a mocha. It's coffee forward, it's chocolate forward. You can't really taste the whiskey, which is a good marker of a good cocktail, that it's not unbalanced. There's no one ingredient overriding the others. The whiskey is incorporated well. The Aztec bitters don't make the drink bitter, they just really make that chocolate note pop. The cocoa powder on top really does hit you with that aroma of cocoa. Really, that chocolatey note just kind of sits through the whole way, follows through. The coffee's well balanced. The Tia Maria has a nice bit of sweetness to it, adds a little bit of more vanilla-y, more sweetness, and really rounds out the drink, keeps it from being one note, makes it nice and complex, and it's really enjoyable. Like, this is going to be my summer drink for the rest of the day because it's getting sunny outside and I want to enjoy this. Until next time, let's launch it.